Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Jeremy, founder of QuickMail.io.
And this is Jack, Chief Lead Generation Officer at salesbread.com. Today, Jeremy, I want to talk about where you and I are getting our cold email inspiration. What sources are fueling our genius campaigns today?
I'm just looking where, it's just like
where? Yeah, from thin air. Right. So I've got 3 sources. Maybe you've got a couple on your list. Do you have a number?
I get 2 on the top of my head, like here,
okay.
Like here.
We'll talk about where they came from. Your sources for those inspirations, right?
That's right.
But first, quick word from our sponsor. It's really simple. You're listening to the podcast. You're interested in doing some form of outbound lead generation, or else this is a really boring podcast. So I encourage you, check out salesbread.com. We've got a ton of content on the site. And of course, salesbread.com/contact is how you can get in touch if you are looking to generate 1 lead per day and you just want a great team to do everything for you. So go to salesbread.com/contact, get in touch, and send you some ideas at the very least.
Right. And the second sponsor is QuickMail.io. You may have heard about this software. This is a great software for cold outreach by automation at scale. And it has also one of the great deliverability feature tool for free, the auto warmer. So go to quickmail.io and help yourself.
Okay. Well said, Jeremy.
What's the benefit of the listeners to know about where we're getting our inspiration from? What's in it for them?
Well, what's in it for them is I don't actually have a magical black box full of secret CIA-informed psychology studies that were never released that show how to get busy people to reply. I don't have that.
I do. No, I'm kidding.
You do not. What I have are a couple of handy places that I look for good ideas. I mean, I don't even look, as we'll get into, they kind of show me where to do the next campaign.
Do that.
Kind of, yeah. And if you're listening, you have these at your disposal. I don't know about your sources, Jeremy, but mine are available to everyone.
Mine are secrets. This is the end of the podcast. No, I'm kidding.
The whole thing just is one censored bleep every time you share something. Right. Okay. So I'm going to go in ascending order from, not as awesome to my most awesome place for inspiration. I'm ready to kick things off if you are.
You should start with the awesome one. So people are like excited and always give the best one first.
Man, if you're not excited after those sponsor pitches, I don't know what's going to get you excited.
Go on, spit it out.
No, okay. So here is number 3 for me. Maybe it's on your list as well, but I keep a swipe file, ladies and gentlemen. If you've listened to the cast, you know about this. Jeremy, what the heck's a swipe file?
It's a folder that I press V on when I receive an email, which is change folder in Gmail. So I press V and I type cold email or CO, and then there's a cold email, and then press enter, and it basically put it into my folder. I have one folder in Gmail that is filled. It's your idea, actually. That's you who brought me this idea, and I do that, and I think it's awesome. It's a great idea.
It used to be a thing where copywriters would keep a physical folder, one of those Manila tab folders. No, I'm not. But I'm going back a step. It used to be just great ads that copywriters would trim out of a magazine, out of a newspaper, out of a want section, yellow pages, billboard pictures, like those old Polaroids,
whatever.
And it was just a growing physical catalog of great ads.
Right.
But in the cold email world, we have this all confined to a digital inbox folder.
Right.
And you create one right now. You like the idea, you haven't done it, you get cold email, do it. And here's what I do. 9 out of 10 cold emails that I get, I don't know about you, Jeremy, but they cannot be learned from. They're just bad. Right. Okay. So you forget it. You don't want to Do you want to learn from bad cold emails? I guess there's a thing
when you
about what
for the
not to
first
do.
one, but when you
Yeah.
receive
How
like
about this?
100 ones the
You're on a
same,
treadmill. Chocolate is on your mind.
there you go.
Don't eat chocolate if you're trying to get it. It's like, okay, now you've learned from what not to do. Every 10 cold emails you get are going to surprise you, are going to teach you something you haven't thought of before. Look for how they start a cold email, how they personalize a cold email, the call to action that they present. By the way, you probably, even if the email has nothing to do with your business, you can learn how they're phrasing it. Are they putting just one benefit? Are they marrying that benefit with social proof so you believe it more? If so, how did they do it? Did they figure out how to say a lot of things in one sentence? Those are the things that I'm looking for in order to inform my own campaign. So I'll say, wow, I didn't think you could use that social proof element with another feature that is also a benefit in one line. Yeah. I'm going to try and take my own stuff, see if I can shorten it. Or wow, great personalization. I'm going to add that to, you know, my little like personalization hacks here. Stuff like that. It's a great place for inspiration.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is actually a great place for inspiration. I did receive a few personalization line that or subject lines that kind of like made me like, oh, that's a nice one. I need to try it sometime. And so, you know, that's how it goes. One of the interesting thing that as a listener you can do, if you are reaching out to company a certain size, yada yada yada, a certain profile, go ahead and create a fake profile LinkedIn with exactly your persona, and then wait until people are reaching out to you through, you know, cold outreach, and that way, you know, that give you some idea on how people are contacting your target audience.
Yeah, I'd take it a step further and create okay, if we're going the gray hat route, create a separate inbox for this account as well, because you need a company domain and you need a name, and then somebody can deduce an email. Just make sure it's not a catch-all. So the domain you buy, the register, I don't really know how they decide if something's going to be catch-all or not, probably for another cast, but you want to make sure it's verifiable so that you
and
do
put it on your website as well one way or another. So that Hunter.io got it in his database, and there you go, you're going to be spammed.
Brilliant. Okay, I started off. Jeremy, do you want to try the next one?
Well, I had the same as you, so I guess you're gonna say it doesn't count. So my next inspiration method is to basically look at our clients' accounts. So I look in client accounts in usually two different ways. One is because someone has a problem and they'd like to figure out something is not working with their campaign or with their accounts, or they don't understand why an email has been sent now, not later, you know, those sort of like typical, you know, questions. So I go ahead, I look at it, at the same time, I spend time, you know, figuring out, you know, that campaign, what it's about, if they're getting results and stuff like that. And the second one is like, sometimes I do like to just help people, either they're starting or they've been with us for a long time or whatever. And so I just drop in and maybe help them out sometimes. And sometimes I'm happily surprised. Or doing demo calls is the third one. Doing demo calls.
Whoa, hold on. Wait, you're mentioning 3 different ones in one go?
But still with my customers, right? Still with my customers, like our demo call.
Okay, so people come to you with campaigns.
Yes, that's one way. Or I look at something because they mentioned something else, and I look at that stuff. So overall, I look at sometimes some campaigns from our users, and I get some interesting inspiration as to, oh, you're doing this or that. That's interesting.
So it sounds like this could be categorized as like seeing other people's approaches.
Yeah, but specifically from the data I already have, like from the software itself, because I have another one that is similar to this one, but it's not through my product.
Understood. Okay, and so what are you looking for when you have the data in front of you, you have the campaign, anything you're going to first?
Is it getting a good campaign? Does it get sort of replies? And if it does, like, what is it actually doing that actually makes it work? That's what I like to do. And
what is it doing that's making it work? And usually, what is that? The value prop. What are you offering?
I think it's always a combination of all those three being aligned: good prospecting, so good profile, good value proposition, great CTA. And I mean, it's hard to not reply to that.
Yeah. Okay. So is it safe to say that this source of inspiration can only be done if you have access to a lot of people saying, hey, check this out?
Yeah. The other thing that people can do potentially is go to a group or Facebook group. Sometimes people are sharing stuff on it. So that also be, one way of doing it. So it's facebook.quickmail.io.
And if you don't have a database of cold email campaigns, check out our teardown episodes. You're going to see word for word what people are sending. And this is great, even if you don't have a big swipe file.
100%. Right? Great idea.
Okay. So next on my list, this one is available to anybody in business, unlike the database that you mentioned, although I'm sure that is a very good source. No, it's good. I imagine it won't be made public anytime soon. So in the meantime, you'll just have to tune into the podcast and hear what Jeremy's saying. Of course. Okay. So listen, the calls I have with not clients, but people inquiring about working with us happen to be my next favorite place for inspiration. I ask a question that's kind of like, what's holding you back from accomplishing what you're setting out to do? And there you just stop and you listen and you take notes, because they're going to tell you what brick walls they're facing. And if you can work that into a cold email campaign, you're going to find out something really important that I picked up from John Carlton. He said when he was assigned a campaign, he would be doing his copywriting research and he'd pick up the phone and he'd call a bunch of customers for their client and say, what keeps you up at night? And he would listen and take notes. And that's kind of what you're doing here in like a less confrontational way. It's a little scary to ask a stranger what keeps you up at night. You're going to get a pause and like, wait, are you serious? Yes. But what's funny is 10 out of 10 people will answer that question. And you're going to want to write stuff down, because this is where you should direct your messaging around a pain point. You're going to get something that they fear, that they're struggling with. And if you can address that in email number one, don't save it for the last one. This is gems of gems.
Number 23.
Put in the first message.
I promise is going to be the best one.
That's right after you've earned a spot in the spam folder. No, so you put it right up front. And my advice is just take something they're currently struggling with, currently afraid of at their company, and frame it in a way that you and you alone have figured out how to make this a painless process. People will resonate with that. So calls, and then specifically ask them what's holding you back. That's my second favorite place for inspiring future outreach campaigns.
Love it. I have another one, which is something that everyone can do when they have a call with their client. Let's say, for example, your campaign, you set a campaign, you set up a time, people jump on a call with you. One of the first questions I always ask is that, by the way, do you mind me asking, Jack, what made you jump on a call with me? What made you say yes to my email, or like respond to my email initially? And they will tell you. And sometimes you get a lot of really interesting thing about like, oh, I find that funny that you're calling from Switzerland or whatever. Like, this is obviously BS what I'm saying, but this is basically that sort of thing that you're going to start picking up, and then you can effectively either reinforce it, use it in different campaigns, or, doing those sort of things. The other thing that I do as well while I'm doing demos, for example, people also use cold outreach. So I don't know if this is because I'm in this line of business or not, but sometimes, we have discussion about like, hey, what's working for you at the moment in terms of cold outreach? And so they tell me like, hey, you know what we find right now is working super great is X, Y, Z. And I say, oh, that's interesting. And then start having a conversation. And that's when I get picked up some of the thing. Sometimes it helps me see where the market is going as well. And I think that's if you got the luxury of doing that with people you're going on call, that jump on call with peers. I have a mastermind group with other founders that we discuss every week. Well, discuss about like, hey, how do you do your outreach? And then, just ask those questions. That's how you get some of the inspirations. What's been working out for you lately? It's a good one.
Okay, I got just one more to share here. And hear me out, because I'm going to, for my number one source of inspiration, I'm going to lean on my inbound leads. And here's why. So number one, in this place of inspiration, I don't really care as much what they're saying. That's not going to inform my campaigns as much. What I'm far more interested in is who they are. And here's why. When you set up an outbound campaign, what do? You pick a segment in your market, you write a message for them, you send, and you analyze, how did it do? You test, you refine, you carry on. But with inbound, you don't have the luxury of picking a very defined segment. Instead, you kind of have this market message that's going out to, unfortunately, not only your perfect target audience, but that's almost a good thing in this inspiration source, because it tells you about new corners of the market that are uniquely hungry for this product or service that you have, that you did not create marketing materials exclusively for previously. Does that make sense? Like if you let inbound tell you what kinds of companies are paying for this right now, you could say, oh, I had no idea that government, that education sectors need some help with this.
Potential client for you. Yeah.
You say, wow, we've had so many inquiries. Let's actually be intentional about this and do some direct outreach, because it sounds like the market's hungry for it, and we haven't really approached them yet. So use inbound to help you better choose your next segment to go after. It's a no-brainer.
Love it. And you had to one-up me because I don't have anything else. I'm desperate, but now I do. Now I do. I have your ones now, so I'm gonna use your ones.
Okay, well, certainly I'll take that. All right. The crowd goes wild for Jack this episode, having 3-2. But Jeremy, thank you. I thought it was interesting on what you and I are picking out in different places that we're looking for inspiration, particularly, even the swipe file. It's interesting to know.
Easy. Anyone can do it, right?
But it's so easy to glean the wrong stuff from a good email. Like, oh, wow, this one was really great, when it really was just good personalization, and you're over analyzing the CTA that wasn't really that great.
That is why we got the teardowns, right?
That's right. So check out the teardowns.
Send us your call outreach.
And for even more, go to course.quickmail.io. Jeremy and I have brain dumped months and months of material there. If you want the fast track to being really good at this outreach thing, course.quickmail.io is where to go first. There's a 30-day money-back trial. See if it's right for you. See if it boosts your numbers, because at the end of the day, that's what we're here for. And that's it for me.
Cool. Checking out. Catch you later, Jack. See you next week.
All right. See you, Jeremy.